December 26, 1980, in the early morning hours. The cold wind carried whispers through the Rendlesham Forest, Suffolk, England. Just 2 miles from the twin NATO BSRF Woodbridge and RAF Bent Watersoming extraordinary was about to unfold. Sergeant Jim Peniston, on patrol, reported flashing red, blue, and yellow lights descending into the woods. Assuming it was a crashed aircraft, he and 2 other servicemen were sent to investigate. What they found would become one of the most documented yet suppressed UFO encounters in history. They walked deep into the woods, guided by the eerie, pulsating light. Then, through the dense trees, they saw a metallic object resting silently on tripod-like legs. Symbols like hieroglyphs adorned its surface. As Peniston approached and touched it, his mind was flooded with binary code, a stream of symbols he couldn't understand. Asterisk the next morning. The base was in lockdown. Peniston and the others were ordered not to speak about the incident. Their superiors dismissed the report, citing a misidentification of a lighthouse in the distance. But nothing added up. The lighthouse did not explain the triangular impressions left in the soil or the high radiation readings recorded around the landing site. LT. Colonel Charles Holt, skeptical at first, became a believer when he led an investigation the next night. Pei recorded a now famous audio tape as they witnessed pulsing red and blue lights moving through the trees, splitting into multiple beams. Asterisk in 2025. A declassified NSA document surfaced on the dark web mentioning Operation Arclita Covert mission in 1981 that allegedly attempted to locate the coordinates provided in the binary code. Among the most heavily redacted pages, one name reappeared: Captain Daniel Arlo. A now retired Navy pilot, broke his silence in a private interview conducted in early 2025. He claimed he was part of a reconnaissance mission dispatched from Diego Garcia into the mid-Atlantic, targeting what intelligence had labeled asterisk potential unknown marine feature type B. The operation never made it to mainstream records. Arlo described flying into a foggy storm that appeared from nowhere. Instruments failing, time distortion experienced on board. When they exited the anomaly, 3 hours had passed, but the crew's watches showed only 7 minutes. On radar, a landmass was briefly visibly in island, not shown on any maps. Asterisk the team landed using a smaller reconnaissance craft. Arlo described the island as unnaturally symmetrical, with stone obelisks arranged in precise geometric pattern. Despite their isolation, the air was filled with static tension as if they were being watched. They discovered a crater-like depression in the center of the island. Within it, a circular stone structure stood ancient, yet untouched by erosion. In its center was an opening, like a tunnel sloping down into darkness. The walls were etched with the same glyphs Peniston had seen in 1980. Inside, time felt ... different. Their watches froze. Communications failed. The silence was oppressive. They descended. In the heart of the island was a chamber, spherical and vast, floating at its center. a metallic sphere, humming softly, pulsing with internal light. Suddenly, the minds of all 5 crew members were filled with visions of Earth, of war, of stars forming and collapsing, and a single repeated symbol, the binary code from Rendlesham. One crew member collapsed, another screamed and fled upward. Arlo tried to speak, but his voice echoed backward, reversing through time. Then total darkness. They awoke on the beach, 500 meters from their craft, without memory of how they returned. Asterisk back at Diego Garcia. The crew was immediately separated. Medical examinations showed abnormal brainwave patterns and memory fragmentation. The NSA, an ONI Office of Naval Intelligence, arrived within 24 hours. The island's coordinates were sealed, and all flight logs were erased. Captain Arlo was ordered into silence under the threat of court-martial. He later learned that one of the team members had been transferred to a high-security psychiatric facility. The sphere they encountered was never officially recovered, but Arlo believed a Black Ops submarine had retrieved it days later, in 2025. Over 4 decades later, an AI research assistant at MIT stumbled upon a corrupted military data packet. What she decoded was shocking. A voice recording of Arlo inside the chamber, repeating a strange phrase in reverse. We were shown ... the next sequence. Then the message ended with a time stamp that had not yet occurred. December 21st, 2025. Asterisk as the prophesied date approached. Fringe scientists and retired intelligence agents began to surface online, leaking fragments of what they called Sequence B. Supposedly, it was the second part of the Rendlesham binary message never intended for 1980. Encrypted in the second sequence were new coordinates, a change in Earth's magnetic pole vector, and most disturbing of all, a countdown. On December 21st, 2025, amateur radio astronomers in Iceland and Argentina picked up an identical signal from opposite palestort bursts of repeating binary code, followed by a moment of silence, and then a sharp audio tone, identical to what Arlo had described hearing in the chamber. Meanwhile, in Washington, D.C., the Pentagon quietly initiated Project Vanta, a black-budget operation meant to monitor any global electromagnetic disturbance. Internal memos warned, if the signal is real, containment is no longer possible. Asterisk, the decoding of Sequence B was completed by a joint civilian team at MIT and CERN. The final translation revealed two paths, collapse and ascension. These were not metaphors. They were literal scenarios. Collapse involved environmental breakdown, digital dependency, and systemic societal fragmentation. Ascension involved cooperation, disclosure, and the emergence of a shared planetary consciousness. The countdown ended on December 21st, 2025, at 11:11 UTC. At that exact moment, low-frequency waves were recorded across the globe. People in different countries reported lucid dreams, déjà vu, and even shared vision zone, describing an enormous rotating cube made of light. Governments remained silent, but a small network of former intelligence officers, whistleblowers, and independent scientists released a global broadcast. The message was not a warning. It was an invitation. Asterisk, the final segment of Sequence B, contained a set of instructions. Build a frequency modulator using Earth's natural Schumann-resonance and direct it toward the coordinates of Hy-Brasil. A rogue team of engineers and radiophysicists gathered in Iceland. On December 25, 2025, they activated the machine. What followed was unprecedented. A portal geometric and translucent opened for 43 seconds over the Atlantic Ocean. Satellites captured the anomaly. Inside it, stars not known to modern astronomy, and a silhouette of a humanoid figure standing motionless. The portal collapsed, but something had changed. The frequency signature of Earth shifted by 0.03 Hertz. Asterisk, weeks after the event, global unrest began to calm. Inexplicably, certain violent zones reported record peace. Children born on December 21st exhibited highly synchronized brainwave patterns, especially when placed together. Captain R.O., now in hiding, recorded one final message. The threshold has passed. We are no longer who we were. Watch the Skiznet for ships, but for understanding. Scientific communities cautiously began to admit something had happened, but they couldn't explain it. Then, on January 1st, 2026, a faint repeating signal was detected by SETI. It was identical to the original Rendlesham code, but with a new header, Sequence C, Initiation.